Good morning, children. Hearty welcome to all of you for today's session. Hope you all are doing good and safe at home. Come, let's learn English. And here is your English teacher, Jyothima. Today, in this session, I will be explaining you the concluding part of our lesson in the Kingdom of Fools, written by A.K. Ramanujan. First of all, I am going to give you an elaborate summary of the lesson that I taught you in the last class. Okay, children, listen. In the Kingdom of Fools is a Kannada folktale taken from A.K. Ramanujan's Folktales from India. The story is all about a kingdom of fools. Okay, so let's see the story. Once there was a kingdom of fools. In this kingdom, both the king and the minister were idiots. They did not want to run things like other kings. So they decided to change night into day and day into night. The king ordered the people to sleep during the day and work only after dark. Anyone who disobeyed this order would be put to death. The people did accordingly. One day, two men, a guru and his disciple, visited the kingdom. They were surprised to see people sleep in the broad daylight. And when darkness spread, everyone became active. Their surprise doubled when they went to the market. They found that everything cost the same. A single dodo is enough. The guru and his disciple became happy because they could buy all the things they wanted for a rupee or a dodo. But the guru was a wise person. He told his disciple that it would not be safe for them to stay in the kingdom of fools. But the disciple, he was not ready to leave the place because good and cheap food was available there. So, at last, the guru left the kingdom and the disciple stayed on. As we know, being a great foodie, the disciple ate his fill every day and became fat in a few days. One day, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house by making a hole in the wall. As he was going out with the stolen things, the wall of the house collapsed on the thief's head and killed him on the spot. The brother of the thief came running to the king and pleaded him to punish the merchant. For what, children? For not building a good and strong wall. Thus, the merchant was brought before the king. The king heard the case and found the merchant guilty. But the merchant put the blame on a bricklayer who had built the wall. Then the bricklayer pleaded the king to punish a dancing girl who distracted his attention by going up and down the street all day with her anklets jingling. The dancing girl, now an old woman, she was also brought before the court. She put the blame onto a goldsmith. She told the king that she had given some gold to a goldsmith to make some jewelry for her. But he delayed the work and made her walk up and down to his house several times. Then the goldsmith was also produced before the king. After hearing the accusation against him, he told the king that he had to attend a rich merchant's orders first, as there was a wedding ceremony in the rich merchant's family. So it was therefore he made the dancing girl come to his door many times. The king asked the name of the merchant. He was none other than the merchant whose wall had fallen onto the thief. So when the merchant was brought before the king, he blamed his father. The merchant blamed his father who had ordered the jewelry. But the father was no more in this world. He died. So the foolish king decided to punish the merchant in his place. So everything was getting ready. A new stake was ordered to be ready for the execution, but the merchant was too thin to fit the stake. What's the problem, children? The merchant was too thin to fit the stake. So the minister informed the matter to the king. Then the king became worried. What shall we do? Children, I think you understood the story. So we completed this much portion, children, in our last two classes. I hope the story is clear to you. I know some of you are not reading the textbook clearly. That's why, children, I gave you a clear summary of the portion that we learned in the last two classes. Children, it's a request from my part. Read the textbook again and again. Then only you can present the answers in its right way. Okay, will you read the lessons? Read the lessons daily, children. So, let's move on to the new portion. I'll read the paragraphs for you. What shall we do? He said, when suddenly it struck him that all they needed to do was to find a man fat enough to fit the steak. The servants were immediately sent all over the town looking for a man who would fit the steak. And their eyes fell on the disciple who had fattened himself for months on bananas, rice, and wheat and ghee. Okay, so let's see the explanation, children. Now, what shall we do? Who said these questions, children? The king, the foolish king. He asked, what shall we do? The foolish king, he got an idea that they should catch hold of a man who was fat enough to be executed with a stake. Did you get the sentence, children? The foolish king suddenly got an idea that they should catch hold of a man who was fat enough to be executed with a stake. Finally, what did he do? He sent his servants around the kingdom looking for a fat man. What did he do, children? He sent all over the town looking for a man who would fit for the stake. So the king's servants' eyes fell on the disciple. What's the reason, children? Yes, the disciple, he had become a fat man because of his overeating. See the last sentence, children. The servant's eyes fell on the disciple who had fattened himself for months on bananas, rice, wheat, and ghee. Because of his overeating, he became a fat man. Okay. What have I done wrong? I am innocent. I am a sannyasi, he cried. That may be true, but it's the royal decree that we should find a man fat enough to fit the stake, they said, and carried him to the place of execution. He remembered his wise guru's words. This is a city of fools. You don't know what they will do next. While he was waiting for death, he prayed to his guru in his heart, asking him to hear his cry wherever he was. The guru saw everything in a vision. He had magic powers. He could see far and he could see the future as he could see the present and the past. He arrived at once to save his disciple who had got himself into such a scrape through love of food. Children, the pronunciation of the word is C-R-A-P-E, scrape. So, he arrived at once to save his disciple who had got himself into such a scrape through love of food. As soon as he arrived, he scolded the disciple and told him something in a whisper. Then he went to the king and addressed him, O wisest of kings, who is greater, the guru or the disciple? Of course, the guru, no doubt about it. Why do you ask? Then put me to the stake first. Put my disciple to death after me. Okay, children. So what's happening there? The disciple was carried to the place of execution. What's the reason, children? Because they found that the disciple was fat enough or he was suitable to be executed in the newly built stake. So the disciple was carried to the place of execution. The disciple cried. He cried, what have I done? I am innocent. I am a sannyasi. So he cried loudly, what's my mistake? I am innocent. I am a sannyasi. Then what's the reply of the servants? The servants said, that may be true. But it's the royal decree that we should find a fat man. We should find a fat enough. We should find a man fat enough to fit the stake, children. It's the royal decree. Decree means order. Okay, so what's the reply of the servant, children? That may be true, but it's the royal order or it's the royal decree that we should find a fat man enough to fit the stake. Okay, so that's the reply given by the servants while carrying him to the place of execution. Then the disciple, he reminded his guru's words. His guru, he was a wise man who told him that it was a city of fools and they could harm him. The helpless disciple prayed to his guru and asked him to come to his rescue. Then what's the condition of guru, children? Yes, the guru had magic powers. He could see everything. He could see the future, the present, and the past. So the guru arrived there to save his disciple. The guru, as soon as he arrived, he scolded his disciple. So what did he do first, children? Like our parents, when they arrived, when the guru arrived there to save his disciple, first of all, he scolded him. So the guru realized that his disciple was trapped in a difficult situation. What did the guru do, children? He arrived there to save his disciple. So when he arrived, or when he reached the place, he scolded his disciple. Okay, so what's the meaning of scrape, children? SCRAP. So the meaning of scrape is a difficult situation that one has got into. Scrape, SCRAPE, meaning a difficult situation that one has got into. So the guru arrived there to save the disciple. What's the reason, children? Because he realized that his disciple was trapped in a difficult situation because of his love for food. So as soon as he arrived, as I told you, he scolded him, but he whispered something in his ears. Then he went to the king and addressed. Say, have you noticed, children? He addressed the king like this: "Oh, wisest of kings." Actually, he was a foolish king. But the guru addressed the king like this: "Oh, wisest of kings, who is greater, a guru or his disciple?" The king answered, "Of course, guru is greater." "So, put me to the stake first, then my disciple," guru said. Did you understand, children? Of course, no doubt about it. Why do you ask? The king asked. The king got a confusion. Why do you ask like that? Then put me to the stake first. Put my disciple to death after me. So the king asked him, why do you ask like that? But the disciple heard this and he understood the trick. Okay, so what was the trick, children? Let's see the next portion. When the disciple heard this, he understood and began to clamor, "Me first. You brought me here first. Put me to death first, not him." The guru and the disciple now got into a fight about who should go first. Then the king was puzzled by this behavior. He asked the guru, "Why do you want to die?" "We chose him because we needed a fat man for the stake." "You shouldn't ask me such questions. Put me to death first," replied the guru. "Why? There is some mystery here. As a wise man, you must make me understand." So what's happening there, children? The king addressed. Oh, when the disciple heard this, he understood and he began to clamor. What do you mean by, children, clamor? Clamor means argue. Okay, so the disciple, what he heard, children? What did he hear? See, then put me to the stake first. See the last sentence, children. Then put me to the stake first. Put my disciple after me. So, by hearing this sentence, the disciple, he understood something and he began to clamor. He began to argue. So, what was his argument, children? Me first. You brought me here first. So, put me to death first, not my guru. So, who began to clamor? Who began to argue? The disciple began to argue. Me first. You brought me here first. So, put me to death first. The guru and the disciple now got into a fight. What was their fight, children? They argued each other. So they started their argument. They argued each other. What's the argument, children? What's the argument? Yes, the disciple said, "I want to die first." The guru said, "I want to die first." So the guru and the disciple now got into a fight about who should go first or who should die first. The king got puzzled. The king got confused. The king asked the guru, "Why do you want to die? Why do you want to die? We chose him because we needed a fat man for the stake. So this is the question from the part of the king. Why do you die, or why do you want to die? We chose your disciple because we needed a fat man for the stake. The Guru, he refused to reply, but he insisted that he wanted to die before his disciple died. Did you get the sentence, children? You shouldn't ask me such questions. Put me to death first, replied the Guru. The Guru didn't answer the question of the king. What's the question asked by the king, children? Why do you want to die? Why do you want to die? But the Guru refused to reply. What did he do then? He insisted. He insisted that he wanted to die before his disciple died. Then the king felt that there was some mystery behind it. Have you seen the last sentence, children? Why? There is some mystery here. As a wise man, you must make me understand. So the king felt that there was some mystery behind it. The Guru wanted to die before his disciple. He was so eager to die. So the foolish king, he was also eager to know the reason behind it. So he asked Guru, why? There is some mystery here. As a wise man, you must make me understand. You must say the truth. What's the reason behind it? Let's move on to the next page. Will you promise to put me to death if I tell you? Asked the Guru. The king gave him a solemn word. The king gave him his solemn word. The Guru took him aside out of the servant's earshot and whispered to him, do you know why we want to die right now, the two of us? We have been all over the world, and we have never found a city like this or a king like you. That stake is the stake of the God of justice. It's new. It has never had a criminal on it. Whoever dies on it first will be reborn as the king of this country, and whoever goes next will be the future minister of his country. We are sick of our ascetic life. It would be nice to enjoy ourselves as the king and minister for a while. Now keep your word, my lord, and put us to death. Me first, remember. So the Guru, as we know, he was clever enough. He wanted to save his disciples. So what did he do, children? The Guru asked the king to promise him that he would execute him first if he told the secret. Did you get the first sentence, children? Will you promise to put me to death if I tell you the secret? Asked the Guru. So what did the king do? The king promised that he would execute Guru first. Then the Guru took the king aside and told him that they had roamed around the whole world. They had roamed around, or they have visited, or they have roamed around all the world. We have been all over the world. Have you seen that sentence? So the Guru took the king aside and told him that they had roamed around the world, or they had visited the whole world, but they had not seen a city and a king like him. The stake which they would use to kill the disciple was the stake of God of justice. Did you get the sentence, children? See, the Guru took him aside out of the servants' earshot. There were servants around him. So the Guru took him aside and told him the secret. What's the reason? What's the secret, children? Yes, he told him that they had roamed around the whole world but had not seen a city and a king like him. Then what about the secret of the stake? That stake, it's a stake of God of justice. Okay, it's a stake of God of justice. Then, as it was new, it had not killed any criminal. So the one who would die first on the new stake would reborn as the king of the kingdom. And the one who would die next would be the minister of the kingdom. Did you get the secret, children? The sentence is here. That stake is the stake of God of justice. It's new. It has never had a criminal on it. So whoever dies on it first will be reborn as the king of his country, this country, and whoever goes next, or whoever goes next means the second one. The second one will be the future minister of his country, of this country. Then we are sick of our ascetic life. Then the third thing, what's the Guru added? The Guru added that he was tired of the life of a sannyasi. He was fed up with the life of a sannyasi. So he and his disciple wanted to live the life of a king and a minister. So he asked the king to keep his promise. Now keep your word, my lord, and put us to death, me first. Remember. Children, hope you understood the portion. So once again, children, I'll give you the explanation. The king promised that he would execute Guru first. Then the Guru took him aside and told him that they had roamed around, or they had visited around the whole world, but they had not seen a city and a king like him. Then, what about the case of the stake? The stake which they would use to kill the disabled was the stake of God of justice. As it was new, it had not killed any criminal, so the one who would die first on the new stake would reborn as the king of the kingdom, and the one who would die next would be the minister of the kingdom. Then the Guru added one more thing. The Guru added that he was tired of the life of a sannyasi. He and his disciple really wanted to live the life of a king and a minister. Then, at last, he asked the king to keep his promise. See the sentence. Now keep your word, my lord, and put us to death, me first. Don't forget. Okay. Next portion, children. The king was now thrown into deep thought. He didn't want to lose the kingdom to someone else in the next round of life. He needed time. So he ordered the execution postponed to the next day and talked in secret with his minister. It's not right for us to give over the kingdom to others in the next life. Let's go on the stake ourselves, and we will be reborn as the king and the minister again. Holy men do not tell lies, he said, and the minister agreed. So he told the executioners, we will send the criminals tonight. When the first man comes to you, put him to death first, then do the same to the second one or the second man. Those are my orders. Don't make any mistake. That night, the king and his minister went secretly to the prison, released the Guru and his disciple, disguised themselves as the two, and as arranged beforehand with the loyal servants, were taken to the stake and promptly executed. So what happened to the king and his minister, children? Let's see. The king was now thrown into deep thought. What's the meaning of that sentence, children? The king was now thrown into deep thought. So the king was in deep thought after listening the Guru, or after listening the description given by the Guru. The king was in deep thought. He did not want to lose his kingdom in the next round of life. So what did he do? He discussed this matter with his minister. Then at last the king came to a conclusion. What's the actual reason, children? Holy men do not tell lies. That's a thing in his mind. Holy men do not tell lies. So he came to a conclusion. They took the decision. Who took the decision? The king and his minister. They took the decision. Let's go on the stake ourselves. What's the meaning, children? Let's go on the stake ourselves. They decided to die. So after death, they thought they would reborn as king and minister, and the minister also agreed to this. Then the king told it to his executioners that they would send the criminals at night. See the second paragraph, children. So he told the executioners, we will send the criminals tonight. When the first man comes to you, put him to death. Then do the same to the second man, and those are my orders. Don't make any mistake. So what did he do, children? He told the executioners, we will send the criminals tonight. So firstly, they should execute the person who come first, and then execute the second person. He warned the executioners. The king warned the executioners to be careful and not make any mistake. What's the reason, children? If they commit any mistake, the second one, if he is execution first, he would be the king. That means if the minister is killed firstly, he would be the king. So the king warned the executioners to be careful and not make any mistake. Okay. So at night, the king and the minister went secretly to the prison where the Guru and his disciple were locked. Then what did they do, children? Firstly, they released the Guru and his disciple. They let them free. Then they wore the clothes of the Guru and his disciples so that they resembled them. Then everything was arranged as the servants came and took the minister and the king, took the king and the minister to the stake or to the place of execution and put them to death. Did you get the last paragraph, children? That night, the king and his minister went secretly to the prison. They released the Guru and his disciple and disguised themselves as the two. By how, children? They wore the dress or they wore the clothes of the Guru and his disciples so that they resembled them. Okay, so everything was arranged. The servants came and took the king and his minister to the stake and put them to death. Promptly executed means suddenly. So they were put to death. So here is the last portion, children. Let me read the last page. When the bodies were taken down to the throne to the crows and vultures, the people panicked. They saw before them the dead bodies of the king and the minister. The city was in confusion. All night they mourned and discussed the future of the kingdom. Some people suddenly thought of the Guru and the disciple and caught up with them as they were preparing to leave town and noticed. We people need a king and a minister, said someone. Others agreed. They begged the Guru and the disciple to be their king and their minister. It did not take many arguments to persuade the disciple, but it took longer to persuade the Guru. They finally agreed to rule the kingdom of the foolish king and the silly minister on the condition that they could change all the old laws. From then on, night would again be night and day would again be day, and you could get nothing for a dudu. It became like any other place. Okay, so let's see the last slide, children. That's the concluding part of our story. Okay, so when the bodies of the king and the minister were taken away to be thrown to crows and vultures, the people, they trembled, they frightened to see the dead bodies of their king and minister. They didn't understand what happened to them. So what did they do? They trembled. The people panicked. What do you mean by panicked? They were frightened. They didn't understand actually what happened. So when the bodies of the king and the minister were taken away to be thrown to crows and vultures, the people frightened to see the dead bodies. They got confused. Instead of the dead bodies of the Guru and the disciple, they could see the bodies of the king and the minister. So all night they mourned and discussed the future of the kingdom. So everyone in the kingdom, they became very sad. They didn't understand. They thought for a while about the future of the kingdom. So everyone in the kingdom mourned over the death of their king and minister. And in the morning, they came to a conclusion. They decided to go to see the Guru and the disciple. So what did they do, children? They decided to go and see the Guru and the disciple. Then by that time, the Guru and his disciple, they were planning to leave the place secretly. What they were doing, their children? The Guru and his disciple, they were planning to leave the town secretly. But the people of the kingdom caught hold of them. So the people of the kingdom, they caught hold of them and requested. What was their request, children? We people need a king and a minister. So they begged the Guru and the disciple to be their king and their minister. So what did they do? The people of the kingdom requested them to be their new king and minister of the kingdom. See the sentence, children? It didn't take many arguments to persuade the disciple. What's the meaning of persuade? Convince. So it didn't take many arguments to persuade the disciple. What's the reason, children? What's the meaning of that sentence? The disciple, he agreed quickly. Did you get the meaning of that sentence, children? It didn't take many arguments to persuade the disciple. So, what's the meaning of that sentence? The disciple agreed quickly. But what's the condition of the Guru? But it took longer to persuade the Guru. But it took much time to make the Guru agree upon this. The disciple, he agreed quickly, but it took much time to make the Guru agree upon this. What's the meaning of persuade? Convince. Say, they finally agreed to rule the kingdom of the foolish king and the silly minister. Finally, the Guru agreed to be the king, but there was one condition. What's the condition, children? On the condition that they could change all the old laws. So, what was the condition? They would change. The Guru and his disciple would change all the old laws. Everyone would work in the day and sleep at night. One more thing, the cost of the things would vary and not be one to do for anything as it was the system earlier. Finally, the Guru, what did he do, children? The Guru converted the kingdom of fools into a normal kingdom. So from then on, the night would again be night and day would again be day, and you could get nothing for a dudu. It became like any other place. So what did the Guru say, children? Yes, he decided to change all the old laws. That was his condition. They would change all the old laws. Then everyone would work in the day and sleep at night. And one more thing, the cost of the things would vary and not be one to do for all or for anything as it was the earlier system or the system earlier. So finally, Guru converted the kingdom of fools into a normal kingdom. I hope you understood the story, children. Here comes an end of our story. Read the lesson thoroughly. 2 long answer type questions are given, children. Don't forget, read the lesson clearly. Okay. So, last week also, many of you didn't submit the notes and assignment, children. Children, please don't repeat it. Okay. So, cooperate with me. This week onwards, you will get 2 classes for English. I hope you got the new timetable. Okay, so read the lesson. Don't forget to write the notes and send it to me in the Google Classroom. Thank you, children. Have a nice day.